welcome to episode 2 of the epic brand spanking new legendary re-release Kyosho Fantom and the unboxing and build video from RC Empire. And what a beauty of a model we have here, as a lot of you have already seen from our Instagram and Facebook posts. Now in the last episode you saw us open up this model for the first time and take a quick look at the box content. And in this episode we're going to get down to some work and put this amazing model together. And actually, flicking through the manual, this looks like a super easy build, which is great. And to be honest, looking at the parts and perfect machining, this is one of those models that I could just leave on the shelf and look at, because it is an incredible piece of engineering, as we will see now. So a huge shout out to the engineers at Kyosho, and one thing I know a lot of you will love is that yes, this kit does come with hex head screws. But let's get straight into it with a quick look at the parts bags. And in the next episode we'll show you what hardware, motor, ESC, servo and receiver that we've chosen, fit them in and hit the track for some serious action. So first of all we have the wheels. There they are. Actually the foam is quite soft, so a low SH number there. And these are 28mm wide on the front with a diameter of 48mm. And on the rear we have a width of 35mm and a diameter of 53mm, and it's a 12mm hex there on the back. And then all the lovely fresh parts bags, and again there really aren't that many of them. And the chain, that will be really interesting to see how this fits and functions, because I know a lot of people have been commenting on this, and we will go into detail of this in the summary video. Again, quickly, if you are looking to buy this model, Kyosho do recommend some brushed and brushless gear, as you saw in the first episode, and I do recommend that you have the servo, ESC and motor before you start building, because these fitted midway to 2/3 through the build before you fit the top plate and not at the end. So it's easier just to fit them whilst you're building it instead of having to go back, disassemble everything and fit it all back together later. But that's it, let's get started. Now this time, unlike the Ultima, we're not going to show you the whole build in detail, just because this is so easy. There's no real difficult bits or odd bits, and it's super straightforward. So follow the manual and you'll be done in a couple of hours. And of course you can pause at any time to see the components. Kyosho also provide a few tools like a wrench and hex keys, which are great if you're a beginner and you don't have the tools to hand. These will help you out. And also get yourself some blue Loctite. Not the red one, because that is way too strong, but the blue one is more than good enough. You can get it in this little applicator stick, and you just need a tiny dab of it on the screws that you're screwing into metal parts, and you don't need it for screws that are going into plastic. One thing to note, whenever you're making the turnbuckles or steering rods, is to make absolutely sure that the left hand side ones are exactly the same length as the right hand side ones. This way the left hand side of the car will be symmetrical to the right hand side, and your toe and cambers will all be even. So for example, that will give you both front wheels always pointing parallel and pointing in the same direction. So what I like to do is use a vernier caliper and just make sure the distance from the center point of the eyes of each of the arms are the same, and it does tell you what this should be in the manual. And again, one of the great things with this kit is that there's no adjustable turnbuckles on the front and rear wheels, so there's nothing to set up. In terms of optional parts, quickly, there are some really nice carbon fiber parts coming out soon, so do look out for those, and we will be fitting them to this model when we can get some. Now I will say, and the absolute most difficult bit is trying to get these rubber grommets on. Unbelievably hard without tearing them. I'm not going to show you a technique because I don't know if there is one. You just have to be really careful and work them into position. Because we almost cut one trying to put it on, so do be careful with those. Even the cat came to have a look what was going on. But apart from that, everything else on this build is effortless. And finally, you're left with something that looks like this. And what we have here are a few of the nuts for the wheels, a few screws for our servo, the servo arm, which will connect to the front steering linkages, and the pins. So quickly, let's put the wheels on. What a car! You've got the fantastic glass reinforced plastic chassis and those beautiful machined hubs and shafts, and it's just an absolute pleasure to build this. And actually, I think this is my all-time favourite build. Of course, there's no shocks because of the nature of this model, and we'll be talking more about that in one of the coming episodes, but it just looks and feels quality. Just like the Ultima we did a few months ago, just like all the other Legendary series models, this is a really nice kit. And do check out our social media pages for some of the detailed shots and close-ups of the components and parts. And quickly, just a little bonus, let's take a look at the chain and try and fit it. Not properly yet, but just see what it looks like and what we need to do. And there it is. Now do note there is an up and a down way to put this chain, so make sure you put it in correctly according to the manual. And the way I've done it is simply just put the front end of the chain underneath the sprocket, and whilst you're turning the wheel, the sprocket will move and pull that chain in. And then same on the top as well. And once that's in, you can just pull it through. Make sure that all the chain links fit into one of the teeth of the sprockets. And then you can just pull it round onto the rear one. And also, according to manual, you should have your battery in the car when you set the chain length. And actually use the battery to try and get a 3mm gap between the chain and the bottom of the battery. So the one we're using here is a 2S 4000 mAh Core RC LiPo. Just a standard classic size LiPo that would normally fit in an old Tamiya or Kyosho model. And if you want exact measurements, you can find them in the manual as shown in episode 1, just so you know what to buy and what to look out for. Now in the manual, it actually says when you're tensioning the belt to try and get a 3mm gap between the bottom of the battery and the chain, which we've tried and it seems quite difficult without having either too loose or too tight. But we'll have a play around with it and see what we come up with and show you exactly what we do, how many links we've taken off the chain and where we've relinked the chains. So if you buy the same battery, you'll know where to put it. But that's it. In the next episode, we'll be showing you the motor, ESC, servo and receiver that we've chosen for this kit, and showing you how to fit them before we hit a number of UK tracks and give this beauty a real shakedown and a serious torture test. So do watch out for that. And also, please sign up to our coming website, www.rcempire.co.uk, for all your hobby resources and needs, because it's gonna be huge. It will be your one-stop shop to support the entire hobby industry, and the best website to give you all the resources you need to get into the hobby world. But that's it. Please do rate, comment and subscribe for more content. Thank you for watching and see you soon.